Welcome back to the channel. I hope that everyone is doing awesome. Today we're going to be building some Easton Axis 5mm arrows. If you find this video educational, please don't hesitate to like or subscribe to the channel. And thanks for visiting. All right, this is the Easton Axis 5mm 400 spine. This is not the match grade arrow. This is the .003 arrow that we're going to build. Today we're building a whitetail hunting arrow. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I like to do is I want to cut the arrow. We can go ahead and put it on the mod spinner to see which end seems to wobble the most. So just by looking at it, it seems like this end has more wobble. So the actual knock end seems to be pretty straight. So we can just go ahead and cut all the carbon off of this one side here. So I pretty much have the mod saw set up to the length I want to cut the arrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. First things first, let's practice safety. So I'm going to wear these safety glasses while I cut this. I don't want to turn on the vacuum because it's going to get pretty loud. So I just go ahead and I'm going to just build one arrow for you guys because I know you guys have things to do. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time doing this. So all right, let's get started. And as you're cutting, saw spins this way. So I'm going to spin the arrow the same way. All right, you just really have to make sure you press the arrow against this stop here, and then you want to put light pressure on it. You don't want to put a whole lot of pressure. You don't want to like distort the arrow while you're cutting it. So just turn it really slow and let it take its time. Don't just push the arrow into the saw like that. All right, so we got that cut. So what the next thing I like to do is take a silver Sharpie, and on the end I cut, I want to square this end off. So I'm going to mark this up with the silver Sharpie just to give an indication to whether the arrow is square. Because if it's not, the silver Sharpie will remain on the spots that are not square. So, all right, that's the nice thing about the mod saw is that it incorporates all this stuff into one package. So that's the reason why I bought this. So go ahead. Light pressure. Go ahead and square it off. All right, all the silver Sharpie is gone. So we know that the end of the arrow is square. So I'll go ahead and tap this end off. So I'm going to install my inserts first. So I bought the Easton archery components. This is Easton's 5mm half-out insert. This is a match grade insert, and this is the number 2 to fit this arrow outside diameter. So what they give you in the package, they give you the, open this up, they give you the half-out insert, and you can see it has an O-ring on the end of it, and that's to kind of keep everything nice and square inside of the arrow shaft. So you don't have much movement, everything fits to the center. So that was a great idea by Easton. But one thing about these O-rings, the end of the arrows, once you cut them, they're pretty sharp on the inside. So you don't want to just cut the arrow and then stick this in there because this O-ring can get cut by this arrow shaft. So what they do is they provide a chamfer stone. So this is a chamfer stone. You can see that it has a little dimple on the tip of it, and that's for you to put your arrow on top and kind of, I don't want to say countersink, but you want to chamfer the inside of the arrow to enable this O-ring to just slide right into the arrow without any hesitation. So that's what we'll do right now. Set that down. Go ahead and chamfer this. All right, simply twist this back and forth on top of the stone, and that should be good. Knock the carbon out the end of it. All right, so I do a little dry test just to see how it slides in, and it goes in pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and get the end of this arrow cleaned up. So I like to take a little bit of acetone, put it on a paper towel, go ahead and wipe down the edge of the tip of the arrow, get all the carbon cleaned off of it. What was that? I'll find it. Get everything cleaned up. As you can see, it's a bunch of carbon on there. Came off this arrow. So then I also, before I put the inserts in, I have a gun cleaning kit. I have this these brass bristle brushes that fits in the end of a rifle to clean the barrel out. So I also use these on the arrows. So I got the perfect size for this one. So I'm going to go in here and then just rough the inside up a little bit just to make the inserts stick and fit well when you're using the glue. They'll have something to make the adhesive stick to inside there. So I like to rough the insides up a little bit. This is the little cleaning pad that pretty much you clean out the end of a rifle with to get all the excuse me, excess oil out with. And I'm going to use that to clean this out as well. Get that cleaned up. All right. So now I got that cleaned up. I can go ahead and drop my other insert. I'll find it in a minute. Got another one. I'll go ahead and get this started. So I'm gonna stick this partially in, get it going. See, that fits in pretty well. So I'm gonna get it up to that point and leave these little indentions here to put the glue on, and then go ahead and slide it in there. But first I'm gonna go ahead and line everything up. I like to have things uniform, so I'm gonna line up these numbers with this labeling on the sticker to make everything look nice and neat. Got that lined up. I'm waiting on the Easton, I'm waiting on the AAE glue. I ordered it in the mail and it hasn't gotten here yet, so I'm just gonna use some what we call Loctite super glue. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference as long as you let it dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a few dabs around the surface of this, not much. Go ahead and get enough to stick. All right, that's good. And then I'm just going to go ahead and push this in there. And there we go, everything's lined up. Everything's looking good. All right, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and get the arrow set up to install the vanes. So the vanes we're using today are tack vanes, tack 2.75 tack drivers. So I have green and I have white to kind of match the aesthetics of the arrow. So with the green and white labeling, that seems to go good. The customer will be happy. So I'm going to use the white tack vane as my cop vane. One of these out. All right. And I'm going to use 2 green. I think that's going to turn out pretty sharp. So the guy I'm building these arrows for, he doesn't really want, excuse me, sorry for the coughing, but he doesn't really want any wraps on there. He wants this arrow as light as he can possibly get it. The reason being is because he's shooting an older bow. He's shooting a Matthews, what is it called? Switchback, the Matthews Switchback. So he refuses to upgrade to a new bow. So we're going to try to make these arrows as light as we possibly can. So I won't be putting any wraps on here. I'm just going to be putting the fletchings right on the shaft. And we're going to use the actual knock that came with the arrows that was provided by Easton. So let's just see what we come up with. All right, I want to clean the back of the arrow shaft too, so that we can get the vanes to adhere well. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe the carbon off of this end as well. And try not to touch this end once you clean it, to keep all the oils in your skin and stuff off of there. We just want things to turn out nice, so you don't have to redo it. All right, we're gonna let that dry. All right, I'm going to be using the Easy Mini Max right here. This is a left helical. I worked on the customer's bow before, and I know that his strings are twisted a certain way that the arrow will come off in the left direction. So I'm going to put his fletchings on with a helical to the left. This Easy Mini Max, it has an aggressive helical to it, so we'll see how it all looks in the end, which these arrows should fly pretty precise when they come out the bow. So I'm going to set this up here, using a white vane as a cock vane, like I said. And as you can see, I put this green tape in here because these tack vanes are really slippery and it's hard to keep them in this Mini Max. So I put that green frog tape in there. I saw this on another YouTube channel. Somebody else used Scotch tape to put in there just to help the vanes sit and not move as much. So I put frog tape. I mean, it seems to be working pretty well, so I'm gonna stick with it. And if you guys want to use this tip at home, feel free. And it actually works well, so go ahead and do that. With these vanes, I purchased the tack primer pen here and the tack glue. So I don't think you necessarily have to have this primer pen per se, but you do need to use some type of primer on these vanes because they won't stick to the carbon if you don't use it. And then I got the tack glue as well. So what I want to do is go ahead and set this arrow up. I want to put this knock in first so I can get things lined up with the cock vane like I want them. So go ahead and insert that. All right, got that inserted. Line it up as best I can with the labeling. So I'm gonna get this lined up with the labeling, net labeling. All right, I'm going to insert this into the Easy Mini Max and make sure that it's lined up with the cock vane like I want it. Okay, that looks good. All right, next I'm going to go ahead and prime these fletchings or vanes up. Get this pin nice and wet. All right, I just like to do one pass. So I'll do one pass here. I'll do one pass here. All right, as you can see, this vane is kind of slipping off still, so it works, but you still can have some hiccups, but it seems to be working pretty good. Go ahead and prime this one up. All right, got them all primed. So we can go ahead and get the glue put on. What I like to do with this glue is I just use I use probably like 3 or 4 dabs of glue on here. I don't like to use much. You don't have to use a whole lot. So 4 dabs of glue. 2, 3, 4. All right, then I like to go ahead and rub the glue to cover the entire vane so we won't have any air pockets. All right, I'll do that to these as well. Two, 3, 4. That. Back down there. Glad these vanes are actually sliding because you get to see what I'm talking about. All right, so we got the vanes glued up. Go back through and do another check to make sure everything's sitting properly Looks good. All right, I like to close this really slow if I can. Get these veins seated right. All right, close it up. Put the cap on. I like to let this sit about 10-15 seconds. Don't take much time for those veins to adhere to the carbon.
A few moments later.
All right, that should be good. Then open this up and unleash the arrow. All right, so this is what we got. I don't see much glue coming out the ends, but just go ahead and wipe it off a little bit. A lot of times you have excess glue, but because I use such a small amount, I don't have any real runoff or anything. So everything looks good, everything seems to be straight, but I'll wipe it off anyway. Then a lot of people, I forgot, like to add a little dab to the ends of the fletchings, just to make sure they stick well on impact. Put a little bit at the front and the back. So okay, so we're looking good. All right. Okay, this is the arrow. These are the fletchings here. You can see the helical that the Easy Mini Max put on there. It's pretty aggressive to the left. Got the cot vein. Everything's pretty much lined up. Got the tip lined up. Arrow looks pretty nice. I think the customer will be happy. Next thing I want to do is get the weight of the arrow. So I got my scale here. Turn this on. Let it zero out. All right, I'm going to tear this out. Arrow holder. Tear it out to 0. All right, with everything on there. This arrow is coming in at 339.2 grains at this time. If you would like, I think he uses 125 grain field tips, if I can remember. So let's see. I have some here, 125 grains. So I'm going to go ahead and screw that in the end here. I also shoot 125 grain arrow tips. So let's see what the weight is now. So we're looking at 463 grains even for this arrow here. So that should be good. If he dropped down to 100, then he'll be looking at like maybe 430, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, 440, somewhere around there, give or take a few grains. But go ahead and let's spin this arrow here and see how straight it is. So give it a little spin. Has a little wobble to it. Like I said, these shafts are 0.003 straightness. So, but it has just the slightest bit of wobble to the end of it. But I don't think it's going to be noticeable. I mean, you're shooting only like the max, maybe 35 yards at the max that you want to shoot a deer, and I don't think that's going to impact any of the accuracy for this arrow here. So we built the arrow together. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you felt like this was educational, please hit the subscribe button or hit the like button. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.